Hi everybody, this is kind of a special edition of Jetpack Ninjas. We're discussing Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And right now I have Nolan
Hey,
and Tony with us.
Hello.
And I'm not sure how this is going to work, so we're just gonna go with it and have some fun. So, alright, where do we start? In the
the
beginning.
first game.
Yeah,
I mean, that
Let's
makes sense to me.
it does start. It makes sense to start there, but
how about this one? Where in the first game did both of you decide that you were hooked
oh,
into the story? Like at
Okay,
what
I can
moment?
actually give you that one.
Yeah.
It was Vermeer. So I didn't really get into it until like much later on because I liked it, but it was kind of I don't know. It wasn't catching me that much, but once they kind of revealed that there was this whole Reaper threat and that you were kind of part of this big galactic cycle, then I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. So that was everything after that for me was gold, but up until then it was a bit of a job.
um, yeah. I'm trying to remember where places are. See, and that's just it. I played it most recently, and I can't remember.
Vermeer was where you went after Saren, and he was making the clone Krogans,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I remember that. Okay, I remember
yeah,
that.
it's
Okay,
fairly late in the
And
game.
that's
yeah, and actually,
yeah,
it's
and that's
beautiful.
yeah, it's I think it's right when you can either kill Rex or you can also lose Ashley or Caden.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was earlier than that for me. I guess. And forgive me if I mispronounce things because, as I've explained to you, Nolan, I'm really bad at pronunciation. So,
That's totally fine.
Noveria, which was, I guess,
Yes.
actually right before that. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was my third one too. That was the one I did last out of the main three.
yes, I mean, because I went and,
Was that the one on the with the matriarch?
That's with the
yes,
yeah, Benezia and then the what is it called? That
the,
race of I
the,
can't think. Rachni. Yeah.
Rachna, yes.
Yeah, I think I did that one in the middle.
Yeah. But yeah, that one, because all of a sudden, there, it seemed like, hold on, I'm making a choice that matters.
Hmm.
Where before that I didn't see how it could affect anything in the future. But
Yeah.
all of a sudden I'm saving a race, not just, an individual. I'm saving an entire race of alien
Right.
species. And
Oh
they,
no,
oh, you
go
didn't.
ahead. Sorry.
You didn't, did you?
No, I killed them.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, sure they could go off. They could go off and live peacefully, but like I have to inflict wrath on somebody in the game, and it might as well be these ugly bug creatures. So that's kind of my theory.
well, and the thing is, they creeped me the fuck
Yeah.
out. And I'm and and the thing is, I said I screamed. That was the only time I've screamed in the game throughout the whole thing. One came up behind me, and all of a sudden, there's this antenna that, yes, they scared the crap out of me, but there was something in saving them. I don't know what it was. It was like I thought, okay, these guys can help me. They're quite powerful. There's a reason that they're locked up over here. So
Yeah. And I mean, I might not have killed them, but the thing is, the whole time I was playing Mass Effect, like that's coming off of like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic being like my favorite game. And at the end of that game, you can just like kill half your party and betray everyone. So I kind of always wanted that from Mass Effect, but I like most of the characters, so it's hard to be like a dick. But with the Arachni, I'm just like, well, I don't give a shit about them. So
and well, that's
they're
just
dead.
it. In the first one, I didn't like really anybody, like any of my team.
Actually, that's true too. I didn't like my party that much in the first one. I
Uh,
liked Garrus, Rex, and that's about it.
I liked Rex. I did not like Garrus in the first one.
I liked Liara.
I thought Liara was annoying and kind of a pansy.
Yeah, I didn't like her either. I didn't
so
really like
was
Ashley
Garrus
any
kind
better,
of
but
too.
And that's why I didn't like him. He was too nice.
I didn't like Caden.
oh, I used him like one time. Like on the first
Yeah.
mission, you have to use him. And I was,
Same here.
that was what sucked too. Is like I didn't really have any struggle when it was choosing between him and Ashley, especially since Ashley was like the character I was romancing. I was just like, yeah, you're dead. So I didn't really have any like trouble moments in the first game. I don't think where I had trouble making a decision. I guess.
No, I did. I don't think I really had trouble. And actually, the Arachne Queen. That was my only spot where I was like, ah. And it actually took a little bit.
I did.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, I was saying I did think about that one too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had to be what I had to be.
But. All right. Well.
For me.
Yes, for you.
For me, I played the game kind of weird. Like, I'm one of those people who doesn't like to do the main stuff until I get everything else out of the way.
Yeah.
So I wasted a lot of time going around the galaxy and just exploring planets and doing all that Mako stuff. And I probably did that for a good, I want to say like 20 hours before I even did the first like main thing. So all of those, like, when you're on the Mako and you're finding like little side missions and stuff, those were like a little more difficult than they should have been because I hadn't done enough leveling on the main story part. So I was struggling for the first like 10, 15 hours. And then once I started on the plot, like the game really got more like immersive for me or whatever. Because then there was an actual story behind it. And I was like, oh, that's why it took me so long to get a groove or whatever. But
yeah, I feel the same way too. Like there was a lot of stuff that wasn't like that story centric that kind of distracted you from it.
Right.
And so yeah, like that's why it took me so long to actually get into the story because most of it was broken up over all these Mako missions, and I tend to do all that stuff like in the middle. Like I kind of want to play all the cool stuff right up front, but then I also want to be able to play. I want to be able to play the best stuff at the end. So the middle is usually just when I do all like the menial tasks that are not fun to play.
Yeah. So I'd say as far as the main plot goes, I'd say the moment I got hooked was probably I'm trying to think. Probably around the same time as Natalie's in Novaria, because I did that one second, so
yeah.
Fighting Venetia.
That was pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. I remember that battle was tough for me too. I died a good number of times.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get used to her, and how. And actually, it wasn't her. Fighting her was not the hard part. It was all of her little minions.
Right. That's where I struggled too, because it's like, which side do I cover? Because she's coming after you from one side, and then the other troops are coming from the other side. I'm like, ah.
I just stayed at the base of the stairs. And,
yeah, pretty much. That's all I did.
And so, hey, Mark is here with us too.
Yes, just got here now.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
What we have just gone over with this is what point in the original Mass Effect did you know that you were hooked?
Just basically playing a whole brand new, an original idea. Just the fact that you could do your own choices, and the exploration is always what I'm won over by.
Yeah, but what point in the game did you say, okay, I can't stop playing?
I just got hooked immediately to the conversations.
Okay.
As soon as you could choose what you wanted to say to people, it felt fresh to me. It might have been done before, perhaps, but not to me. So, with that, it was that immediately hooked me.
Okay, that makes sense. That's actually completely. The thing is, yes, I really enjoyed that part, but I was having so much trouble with the battling up until a certain point, but.
Yeah, I think especially too, like the second playthrough made it a lot easier to deal with the combat, Because I think the first time I had a lot of issues too, and it was kind of clunky. But when you do because they have a New Game Plus, don't they, on the original one? Because you get more powers and I think some extra levels.
Oh yeah.
And so it was a lot easier playing it the second time. Even though I played it on a harder difficulty, it was just more manageable because my character was already leveled so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first time a lot of combat was like just kind of tedious and a lot of replaying because somebody would come and screw you. So.
Colossus. They were my mortal enemy. That and Battle Krogan.
Yep. I found a way to cheese the system though. If you fight like the Colossi or the some of the like when you're in the Mako and you're doing battles, you can hurt those things and then you get them whittled down to like their last bits of life, and then you step out of the Mako and shoot them with your regular gun, and you get more experience for it.
Yes, you do.
But, really?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
I just stuck with the Mako.
Yeah, so did I, because I really didn't have the ability to do more than that. And, it was getting Liara that I had to... you didn't have the Mako. You had to fight a Colossus without the Mako.
Yeah.
So, I died there a lot. And then... But inside, and then there was the Battle of Krogan right after that.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that. So, now, Nolan mentioned he romanced Ashley. Who did you guys?
Actually, oh.
Oh, okay.
I just want to say, the first time I didn't really realize that you could only kind of like flirt with one primarily, so I kind of was like flirting with Liara and Ashley, and then when we got to that final mission, nobody came to my cabin.
Oh.
And so, yeah. So the next time I played, I was just an asshole to Liara just to make sure that the contrast was there, like just so she knew I wasn't interested, and then Ashley wouldn't have an issue, because, she's a xenophobe and everything.
Yeah, she is.
Do they not have a moment where they both, like, kind of confront you and ask? Or is that only...
Yeah, and I think I even had that moment, but I think I had been too balanced and, like, literally going 100% flirt with both of them just because I was like, oh, whatever. And I think if you do that, they just kind of withhold it from you.
Hey, I can get a vote.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that in later games, though, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
I'll just say that I romanced Ashley on my playthrough. I only played the game once, however.
Right.
And what I did was I had an Xbox at the time. I had a PlayStation 3 now, so I did what they did at the start of Mass Effect 2, which is you sort of play through a comic strip of Mass Effect 1 before you start Mass Effect 2. And I had to basically refresh my memory of what happened in the first one via the comic strip, so I might not have too much to say now about the first game, because I only played through it once, but obviously when we get to the second and third, I've got lots to say about them too.
Alright. Alright. Tony, who did you?
Like Nolan, I think I tried to flirt with both, but when it came down to actually, maybe it was a previous conversation. I think I made like the wrong response to Ashley at some point, so she was kind of like, "Oh, okay," Like, I guess I'm not interested in you anymore. So when it came down to that moment, it automatically defaulted to Liara.
Yes.
But then I replayed the game again and did Ashley just because I was curious to see it. So
nice choice of words.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was Liara, but it was, and only because when everybody was talking about 3, because I didn't play 1 until 3 had even come out. They were talking about how if you romance Liara in previous ones and then in the third one you go to somebody else, she doesn't want to talk to you. And she doesn't. Oh boy, she was not happy. So I just wanted to, and it was kind of like the ultimate asshole move, but that was kind of my character. So, yeah. And did anybody else get the consort?
I did.
No.
But I only
I didn't
did
even
on
know
my
you actually could.
Oh, yeah.
I only did it on my first playthrough, and every time I've played the game since, I can't get it to happen.
Oh, it's easy.
I feel like I'm doing the same things
well,
too.
why
and
don't
I
you enlighten us?
Okay, what you do is, and the thing is, I didn't know it could happen when I went through, and when it did happen, I was like, hold on, I didn't know, and I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, that's why. When she gives you her gift of words, and you say, huh, that's all, pretty much, if that's not good enough, then she does it. So, it's rather simple. It's the renegade option there.
See, I end up being too neutral in general. Like I'm more renegade, but I'm still kind of in the middle. So I don't really get all the cool bonuses.
If you guys have pictures of you guys as renegades or paragons, I'd like.
Oh, I do.
Okay,
Well,
I would.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I would like that so we can post them because it'll kind of show the difference in actually how much difference you can have with one game or 3 in this case. But I definitely do. If you guys haven't seen them.
Oh, I've seen yours.
Oh, I've seen them.
I'm so proud of it. I really am.
You have every right to be.
So,
what about the final battle?
Well, actually, before we get to the final battle, let me ask.
Okay.
Who did you let die?
Caden.
Oh, yeah.
Caden,
That was
purely
easy.
because I romanced Ashley.
So all 3 of you let Caden die, and I let Ashley die.
And he was. Well, you were romancing Liara though, weren't you?
Yeah.
I think that probably made a big difference too. But I just hated Caden. He just was the most annoying character, I think.
I pretty much didn't talk to him much. It was just it was
exactly.
very official business when I talked to him. So.
Yeah, for me it was just a matter of, like we discussed before, I tended to use Ashley in my party more than Caden. I think I used Caden maybe on 5 different occasions throughout the whole game. And then I romanced Ashley, so that contributed. And then talking to Caden was kind of like, hey, Caden, what's up? But, oh, my head hurts.
Oh, my God, I know.
When I was younger, I killed this guy, and it really was hard. It's like, oh, okay.
The thing with Ashley was, oh, my grandfather, he...
Yeah.
and not only that was she complaining about her grandfather died with dishonor, but then she also was a xenophobe.
Yep.
And she just had an attitude all the time. I'm like, well, fine, you can just die. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, if I had my choice, they both would have gone, but...
Yeah. And yes,
Yeah.
She was better in combat. She definitely was. But I didn't use either one of them most of the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I only used her because I was romancing her, so I felt like the need to include her, But...
They don't have real feelings.
Yeah.
She starts
more
with
just like, oh, you're doing a good job.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about... Okay, what?
Wait, before we leave that section, did anyone kill Rex?
No.
I did not, no.
No.
Okay.
No,
I really can't imagine anyone killing Rex. He's
probably the best character in the series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not sure if best in the series. We'll get there.
He has the most memorable line in all the series.
Which one's that?
Shepard.
Oh. Yeah, that is pretty memorable. Yeah. So I will remember it forever now. So, we have established no one let Rex die.
Yep.
And if anybody has out there, I think we need to hunt you down.
I agree.
Yes. For okay, before we get there. Okay, no one else could have died. Never mind.
No.
That's in the second one. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Hmm.
We're at the end. Who mentioned the end?
I did, I think.
Okay. What was your question?
Oh, just how did you end it? As in, kill the council or no?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I was pretty much doing Paragon, so I saved him.
Aww.
Well, you know.
I think. I think even if I wasn't trying to be a renegade, like I just hated the council, and I was just like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to start again, and I just killed him.
Yeah, my thing was they didn't listen to me. They didn't care, and they pretty much told me everything was a hallucination. Screw them. So, how about you, Mark?
Well, I mean, I saved them, but that's only because like I hated them too. But I spent the entire series being a Paragon, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just because I feel the need just to play it safe. I just can't do Renegade for some reason. There's the occasional time where I do the Renegade, but it's not a game changer or anything. But I have to stick with Paragon, and I don't know why. So I just save everyone if I can.
Which is funny because I tried to do a run through with Paragon.
Yeah.
I didn't get very far. I was
Why
like,
was that?
I couldn't play Paragon. It was like, this is just wrong. This is not. My character is a wimp, and you know, and that's not Shepard. She's she's intimidating and she's scary, and whoever, I don't know. Obviously you guys played as he's.
Okay,
I
well,
played both,
that's interesting anyway that you can be Paragon when we get to the... I know this is jumping ahead now, but that's interesting when you say that when we get to the Mass Effect 3 ending, if you wanted to be Renegade the whole time.
Oh, the thing is, I made Paragon decisions.
Yeah.
It's just, again...
I won't say anything else about that, actually, until we get to the Mass Effect 3. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll come back to that, yeah.
Alright, in the ending, yes, I killed the Council... and Nolan killed the council, but Tony and Mark saved them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was anyone able to? I know there's a way to short circuit that fight with Saren. I think you can just finish him off in one if you do something. I don't know what it is, but did anyone get that?
No, I read about that, and it had to be 100% Paragon
Renegade,
or
right?
Renegade. No, 100%
Okay.
either way.
Either way, okay.
Yeah, either you could. And actually, yeah, you had to be 100% either way. If I'm getting this right, I might be wrong. Now I'm gonna screw up everybody else.
That sounds right.
And you're either able to convince him or just take him out. So.
Yes.
I wish I had shortened that fight. Oh God.
It was kind of a pain in the ass. Especially since he does like the horror movie villain thing and just keeps rising after dying like 50 times.
Yes.
So you just keep thinking you beat him, and then he just keeps getting back up and looking uglier and uglier every time, and it's just going.
That was a brutal battle, but it was. You got to think about it. It was more representative of what was happening outside with the, all the ships attacking the Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, what's that Reaper's name? I can't even remember.
Sovereign.
Yes, that's right,
Yep.
Sovereign. But yeah, it was a metaphor.
I feel like that battle probably would have worked better in the sequels because the combat system was a lot more toned down or tuned better.
It was easier to command your people, and it was easier to cover, and it was
right. I just felt
one?
like the
no, not in the first one. The first one was
okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like the combat in the first game was really janky and like aiming was a little bit shifty, and like you said,
in your reticle.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry.
Just so many problems with it, and having a battle where the guy's jumping, from one wall on one side of the room to the other side, it's like that's a chore.
Yes, and having to recenter your camera, and the first one I had to end up reinstalling for my second run through, because the first time I did, I couldn't, because I'm on a computer.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't realign while I was in the hub, so I had to stop it exactly, perfectly precise on the person that I was going to hit with the power or something, or I couldn't get them, So I think that really made the first one really, really difficult. So.
Yeah, and then I really liked that you had to choose weapons, because I like the fact that you're forced into doing something more difficult, but like I think I was a Vanguard, which means you got the pistol and the shotgun, which are like, I like pistols, but I hate shotguns.
It wasn't. No, was it the shotgun?
It was. I know it wasn't the assault rifle, and it wasn't the sniper rifle.
That's
and
right.
Only four. I think there was only 4 weapon classes in the first one too.
It was the shotgun, because I was a Vanguard also.
And like, I always like using shotguns, but then I pull out the sniper rifles, and you pull out the sniper rifle, and your reticle is as big as your screen, and I was like, oh, so I guess I can't hit anyone with this.
Right. That's pretty much it.
Even if you had the best weapon, it was still like an inch, and it was just like, okay. So that was kind of annoying. Like, I like when people try to make more concessions when doing like a shooter and RPG, but like when the combat is kind of in between. Like, I didn't really like Fallout 3's combat either, for the same reason, because it felt like it was not really a shooter and not really RPG at the same time. Like, it's just kind of in limbo, and not a good limbo. And that's how I felt about Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
And we will get to the other 2, because they definitely made improvements. So,
yeah.
Yes, my big problem was combat. There were a lot of limitations. As a Vanguard, yeah, you got some pretty cool powers, but it took so long to build them up, and I could have done a lot more damage with. And I actually preferred to use a gun, because I could just go with it, and trying to remember, hey, I have this on the 7 key. It was hard to do. So, but yeah, combat was my biggest problem with it.
What did people think was the biggest strength then with the first one? For me, it had the strongest story out of the 3 games.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Yeah, the strongest. I would say the strongest, like, core narrative.
Yeah,
like, the actual. Yeah, the main story, I guess.
Well, it was laying all the groundwork. It was laying all the groundwork, the history, for the other 2. So the other 2 could be more in the time you're getting this taken care of, and not worrying about what happened.
Yeah, it gets all the explaining out of the way. Go ahead. I'm done.
I was going to say, they could have made the first one have the better story, in my opinion, and they could have spent more time. They spent more time doing the story, the cutscenes, the dialogue options, over the combat, because we know the combat was clunky. But it seems to be that in the second and third they put everything into the gameplay to make it smoother, but then forgot about a strong narrative. So they sort of switched over in the second and third game. That's what I think anyway, in terms of the story.
As a bridge to getting into the second game, I kind of feel like maybe after the first game and establishing all the different points of what your choice with the Arachnite Queen, your choice with the Thorian and things like that, I kind of feel like maybe they realized that if they try to be too grand, it's going to be a little too hard to rein it in at the end.
Right.
So over the course of the series, they kind of probably just whittled it down a bit. but that affects the story and how it plays out and how you, I guess, see it like its strength is kind of diminished because they're trying to cut back on some of that.
Yeah. And actually, I just want to go back for a second. You mentioned the Thorian.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Asari there.
Yeah.
What did you do to her? Did you let her go, or?
I think I let her go. Yeah.
What was the option? To kill her or let her go?
Yes.
I probably killed her. I'm just gonna assume I killed her.
Yeah. Because she was I think the third one I shot in the head. I can remember there was the guy at the club. I can't remember the club's name now either. That right before you get Tally.
Mm-hmm.
There was him. There was and her, and I swear there was one other person, but I can't remember who. And the one character I wanted to shoot in the head really badly wasn't an option. It was that reporter. She irked me.
Hey, you got to punch her out though, didn't you?
Oh yes, I did 3 times.
I wanted to shoot Udina in the face.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah.
The thing is, I didn't trust him. I did not trust him from the beginning of the game. And I was right.
Well, politicians, they're all the same.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We're not talking politics. Except in the Mass Effect world.
Yeah.
Because actually, that is one thing. The game was a political game too.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to affiliate yourself with this party or are you going to over here? And it was very much a political game without it saying, hey, what's your party?
Well, and every race is so obviously like influenced. None of them are like, I guess I would say none of them are direct analogs to any of our own, but you can see all sorts of traits in each one that kind of belong to groups in our own world. So it's kind of mixing that up and kind of placing it in a different universe, and then you kind of have to navigate that as well.
Wow. There's a layer of Mass Effect I hadn't really considered, didn't even know I had considered in my head. Yeah, I have thoughts that I don't even know I have.
That happens.
Yeah. All I need is the suggestion to realize it. So let's move on to 2, because I'm already envisioning when in the beginning of 2, when you have to, you're saving Joker, and you get him on his thing on the pod, and he gets out of there, and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my first reaction is, holy shit, what did I do wrong? And then, because at first I thought, okay, was I just supposed to leave Joker there and just get on by myself? And was this a test? And obviously it wasn't, but that was my first reaction.
Mm-hmm.
How did I die in the first 2 minutes?
Well, it's a great opening.
But I mean, yeah, it was. I think I unfortunately saw or heard about it before I got to the game, because I kind of came late to it, and I was still replaying Mass Effect 1 when Mass Effect 2 came out, so it was a couple of months before I even got to it. And I already heard, like, you know, the first scene is you dying, and I was like, oh, okay. So that kind of sucked.
Yeah. So no one else had that reaction?
I kind of was like, I wouldn't say I felt like I did anything wrong because I didn't really see any other options I could take, but at the same time I was like, what, like, where is this gonna go? Like, because I didn't know. The final shot there is basically him floating off into space and he's struggling to breathe or whatever. So it's kind of like, where do you go from here? Like, how does this play out? So I was kind of like just curious to see where they were going to take it from there. If they were going to like introduce a new hero or something or what.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. If they were going to introduce a new hero, that would have really, really angered me. Because I spent all this time building up this one character. Why are they going to, bring in a new one?
That would have been a bit of a depressing start as well to the game, wouldn't it?
Oh,
just suddenly killing your character.
I actually would have hated the game. I really would have. Even if it were exactly the same actor, I would have hated the game.
Yeah. Well, part of the genius of that, too, of that intro, is they put you in your mask, like your helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't see your person's, like, face or any of the features you gave them in the first game.
Right.
So when it comes to later on, when it's like, oh, Cerberus reconstructed you and you get to remake it, like if you want to change anything, you can change it there.
Uh-huh.
Like, I thought that was pretty cool that they hid it from you so that you'd have that option later.
It's just a very clever way of welcoming newcomers as well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they did it.
You always reconstructed yours?
Yeah, I never kept the same face. I mean, I always pretty much made the same face, but because I kind of assumed that the character creator had been enhanced, like, why not try to keep making a better version, I guess, is my thought.
I imported both. I only had to adjust in the third one, which I think was way better. I honestly do. It looked so much more like me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think I did minor tweaks each game, but nothing major.
So, okay, so after you're in, what was your first reaction to the elusive man?
Shifty.
Yeah.
I trusted him less than I trusted Udina, let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, I agree. There was something about him. And, all of this stuff is he's allowing you to do, and he's paying for, or people are funding, but he's making it possible for you to continue this fight for the galaxy. But you're like, what is in it for him? What is he really doing?
I think Martin Sheen added a bit of a sinister sound to him as well when he spoke. I mean, you pretty much knew from the off he wasn't to be trusted.
Oh, well, the thing
I think it's down to the voice acting and stuff, and all that.
His eyes.
Oh yeah. Well, Martin Sheen. My husband heard the voices. Oh, it's the president.
Oh, the West Wing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't even trust him in the West Wing. There is something about his voice I don't like.
The Sheen
Don't
blood.
trust a man who has Charlie
Tiger
Sheen
blood.
as a son.
It is the Sheen blood, isn't it? You got to remember, Emilio Estevez is his son too.
Yeah.
Oh, you forget that.
Everyone tries to forget that.
So does he.
How do you forget Coach Bombay? Come on now.
The alcoholic, though. Remember, he was in like rehab or whatever, so drunk driving.
Yeah, well.
But I mean, the thing with the Elusive Man too is like he runs a pro-human organization, so like anyone that basically runs a group that's really focused on the advancement of only one section of society, you're obviously probably not going to be able to trust them because they always have their own agenda.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and actually, there we go. And probably my most Paragon decisions were based around that concept right there. It was more tolerant of other races
Mm.
than, and I would side with the race that wasn't saying, I don't want you around. It was, I would side against the I don't want you around. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, he had techno eyes, like
Oh.
robot eyes or whatever, and I'm like, something's not right there.
They were creepy.
Yeah.
And they just kept getting creepier and creepier, which showed that he was doing something, wherever he was,
And he sits on his own in a room in a chair and stuff, and
yeah.
his office is all very sinister, and he's smoking and everything. Everything just labels bad news on him.
Well, and the thing is, any character that smokes in a TV show, a movie or a video game is generally considered the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's
Renegade.
their foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've gotten through the beginning, the elusive man. What
about, did you guys like having so many squad members in the second game?
I still only
Yes.
used a couple.
Yeah.
I did too, but I liked every character in that one versus not everyone in the first game.
That I agree. I liked
Yeah.
it so much better in the second one.
Even
I
like
think-
Zaid, who I used maybe once, was still pretty cool.
Oh, I loved Zaid.
Although I think someone hated him. I don't remember who it was. And actually,
Yeah.
Kasumi was who I think I liked best, other than Samara. And both of them were unromanceable, actually.
Samara's romanceable.
Those, yeah, Samara is, yeah.
No, what?
No,
Yeah.
she's not, is she?
How?
Yeah, she is.
No, she's
Yeah.
not. She rejects you.
She is romanceable.
Is it a
You have to
Renegade Paragon thing?
Be, is a Renegade Paragon.
Must be,
You have to
yeah,
be
must be
Paragon.
Renegade.
You have to.
Oh.
yeah.
Okay, because that makes sense then.
So, who didn't you like in 2?
Well, I think one of the strengths with 2 is that there wasn't really anyone that I didn't like. They really nailed all the characters in the second game. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
I can think of one that I didn't like or
I-
care for.
I can too.
Jacob.
Ooh, hold on. I didn't even think of him, and no, I didn't like him either.
I like Jacob.
I didn't really speak to him much, to be honest. I thought, ironically, I thought his loyalty mission was a bit weak as well.
I didn't mind his loyalty mission. I thought it was interesting with
It was with his
the
dad.
way
wasn't
his dad was like controlling
Yeah.
those people, but just him as himself, like he didn't really have much to offer. His personality was just kind of like bleh.
It was a bit bland, I suppose. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, Jacob I didn't like. And the thing is, with his father and his loyalty mission, his character did not go with it.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It seemed like his loyalty mission was really dark, considering
Yeah,
what his dad was
and-
doing.
but-
but
and he
Jacob
was-
didn't
He was
seem
just a
like
little.
dark character.
Yeah, he was just a little too bland. Yes, bland is the word. But you expected a little more darkness from him based on this. His dad abandoned him. And then even after, when he found out what his dad had been doing, you would expect some kind of anger or backlash.
He doesn't seem troubled. Does
No, no, there's nothing. And
he? I totally agree with that. Yeah.
my other character, I did not like Miranda.
Yeah, she
I
was
like
kind of
Miranda.
boring,
You probably banged her.
snobby.
Oh, I did.
See, I was right.
But I mean, I don't know, like the whole like genetically modified and kind of like she feels like a monster even though she's perfect. I don't think it was necessarily done perfectly. I kind of like that archetype.
They beat that into the ground.
They did.
That
They kind of did.
I'm perfect. I'm perfect. I'm perfect. Okay,
Like,
I
I'm
get
so
the point.
hot, but it's just like nobody likes me. I don't know.
And, you know, yeah, that's just it. You know, they really, it would be one thing if, you know, she mentions it once, but then there's an aloofness. I probably would have liked her. Instead, it was more a begging and a desperation. And it was like, okay, if you're so perfect, you shouldn't be so desperate.
Right.
That was my opinion.
And yeah. And to be truthful, I always had a crush on the girl from Chuck who played her,
Yeah.
Yvonne Strahovski. So that was kind of like one of those few times where it's like, oh, I like her more than I really care, I guess, about the character. I don't know.
So the person who played her influenced your decision.
Probably.
Yes.
And I didn't really like a lot of the other romance options. Like, and I guess I would say that is the one character I don't really like in Mass Effect 2, but I also didn't like her in Mass Effect 1, which is Tali. I know a lot of people like her.
No,
She
I'm with
bores
you
me.
on that one. I'm with you on that one.
She's like the girl that's interested in you that you're never interested in. You know, like
Yeah.
she just doesn't really do anything to make me care.
She's your best friend's 12-year-old sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought she was okay as a character, but as a romance option, I had no interest just because it was like, I don't know, like I felt like she was like you said, like a sister or like someone you'd known for a long time, but you just weren't into that way. So like when it would come up like to try to like flirt with her or whatever, it just didn't feel right. It was just weird.
Plus, she wasn't an option for me at all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like Tali. I thought she was whiny.
Yeah, whiny.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's definitely.
She's whiny and she's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on. You go.
Oh, I was just gonna say you're right about like the 12-year-old because she's whiny in that like little sister or the adolescent sister who you just don't want to deal with kind of way. So I don't like that, I guess.
And actually, I probably should be able to relate to her better because I was the best friend's 12-year-old sister at one point in time. So having a crush on
Weren't we all?
having a crush on my older brother's friends, that was heartbreaking to say the least. So, but yes, and as for me, it was like she didn't fit with my character, and I couldn't be.
Yeah.
She needed a hand holding, and I couldn't give her.
I think what bothered me. Sorry, I think what bothered me about her though was
fine.
like when you first meet her in the first game, she's like, she's on her pilgrimage, but she's like, I'm trying to take this person down. I'm doing this thing, you know. She was basically kind of like more independent, like more, I guess, finding an inner strength. But then as the games go, it kind of seemed like she depended on you a lot more as it went, and I felt that was kind of backwards.
Yes.
Because then it was like in the second game you had to help her with the trial of her father and all that, and then in the third game it was kind of the same thing. Like she was the admiral, but she kept looking to you for advice on how to deal with things with her race, and I don't know. I felt like that was a complete turnaround from the first game when she's like, you know, she's the person who's like spearheading the quest against Saren and things like that.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, and there was a point in the first one where she said that she can handle things herself, that she can fight, and she doesn't have to worry about that. And actually, in the third one, she could. All of a sudden, both she and Liara came back, and they could actually do what they needed to do in combat. But before that, I had so much trouble with them. It was like, they just wouldn't do anything on their own. Actually, the first one, none of them would do anything on their own. So, but Nolan, you were going to say something about Tali.
I don't don't know anymore.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It got lost. I have
Yeah.
more to say about her, but it should probably wait for later.
Okay,
Because it's
that's
related
fine.
to other things.
I will just say, as a whole, though, the second game does a very good job of establishing, like an emotional connection with all the characters because of the loyalty missions.
Yeah.
And it's like the side mission, that's the bulk of the game are those missions, but I feel like they let you get to know a side of the characters that you wouldn't have normally found out if it was just like, hey, you're on my team, let's go kill some guys.
Oh, I gotta correct myself too. I was thinking of Thane when you were saying Zaid.
I think didn't you hate Zaid?
Oh no, I love Zaid.
Okay.
No, I
could have
really.
sworn it was.
No, I
okay.
was the one. I was the one who said, "Man, I just loved going up to that room and hearing him talk about, this, that, or the other, and then and looking at his gun or looking at this helmet he has, and
Right.
and him telling me about this." Now, Thane was the one that I was thinking of before with the,
Okay.
yeah, and for some reason I just in my head thought that that's where we were. So. Yeah. I love Thane too.
Thane is
Obviously.
Yeah, Thane's one of my favorites.
And I'm sorry, Trin. Trin romance Thane. Now, I also really liked. God, why can't I remember names? I'm so horrible at names. I've told you guys this before. I'm awful with names.
Description, anything.
The Krogan.
Oh.
Grunt.
Grunt, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I love that guy.
Again, it was the brute. Yeah, he was vulnerable in just the right way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was vulnerable just because he didn't really understand what he was doing.
Right.
Because he had no exposure to anything. But I will say I did like him, but I felt more like I would have rather had Rex there. Because he's kind of cool, but he's like kind of the prototypical Krogan.
Yes.
Like who loves to fight and stuff, and that's cool. But like Rex was more like a buddy or something like that.
Oh,
and I felt like that was kind of missing.
I definitely liked Rex better. But I really liked Grunt because it gave a different perspective. There was no genophage problem with him.
Mm.
So that was not a focus in this one.
Wasn't there still no? Because you still did it was someone's loyalty mission. It was either Grunt's or Morden's. You still had to go take care of the genophage
yes,
on.
it was Morden's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grunt was the one where you had to fight the Thrasher Maw.
Oh, you had to participate in the what's it called? I don't know, the blooding or some other various old school tradition.
Yes.
Wasn't that just like a challenge room or something? Grunt's mission.
It was more than a challenge room. You had
You were just confined to one space, weren't you? You just.
Yes.
It was like, weren't there like floods of Rachni that would come?
Yes.
And then the Thresher Maw would pop up every so often.
Oh, that Thresher Maw. I killed it. Is it possible to not kill it?
I think it is. I killed it every time, but I don't think you have to.
Because I think if you just survive the amount of time necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember there was.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just assumed that you had to kill it.
Yeah, I just killed it every time.
I'm just like, I have a gun, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, after fighting that, I was able to go onto the planet where the soldiers had crashed, and actually it was a trick that they were responding to a signal, and then I was able to fight that Thresher Maw. But before that, I tried, and it scared me, and it was like, this thing is impossible to beat. Because it shoots acid, and one hit, messes up the Mako. What do you think it does to me? So.
I thought actually it was probably easier fighting it outside the Mako though, because you can't really maneuver that much with the Mako, and then in that setting, I think you had enough extra firepower to take it down. Because I felt like they were really annoying in the first game.
Yeah, I avoided them as much as I could. So it wasn't. I would actually skip over, like, if there was a rock that was near where there was, and I was supposed to do whatever at it. I would just skip over it because I didn't want to deal with them. Like, if I, because if you can, there's always hills around them, and then it's like a sand pit. So, and as soon as you hit the sand, you get the rumbling, and you're like, okay, I'm turning around and I'm going. I'm not dealing with one of these, because I just didn't like it. I didn't think fighting them was worth it. So, especially since every time that I would encounter a spot where they were, I knew I still had a base full of Geth that I had to fight. I would rather have, wasted some Omnigel. Is that what? Yeah, that's right. On fixing the Mako, fighting the Geth, than fighting a Thresher Maw.
Yeah.
So.
The thing about Grunt that I liked, though, was that he was bred to be the perfect Krogan. But as it goes through the game, like, he's not really the perfect anything. Like, he still has to learn everything and, find his place within the race and stuff like that. So I thought it was fun to watch him, like, progress.
It was like he was bred to be a perfect Krogan physically, but they couldn't put memories in his head. They couldn't put this Krogan pride in his head.
Right. They tried.
Yeah.
It was something that he had to figure out, though. Like, he had it in him, but he didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
So I just thought that was all interesting to watch play out and
it was
get to see develop.
It was almost like he was a baby in a grown man's body.
Right.
I've met many of them.
Just like me. No.
So, let's see, who haven't we talked about yet?
Jack.
Jack, I loved Jack.
Love Jack.
I
like Jack too.
I totally wish she swung both ways.
She was my romance in the second.
Oh, I split between. I did her and Miranda, actually.
Oh, because you because of the fight, you were able to do that, weren't you?
No, because Jack doesn't care. Like, she's all no strings attached. So if you go, I literally went downstairs, rolled around with Jack, went upstairs, and then was like, "Hey, Miranda," and that was that. There's no real complication there.
Yeah.
I guess for some reason she kind of stands outside the rest for some reason. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Don't have to be full renegade to romance Jack.
No.
I don't think so.
I was as paragon as I could be to get Jack, and I still, made it work.
Oh, really? Oh, fair enough.
But there is the point where, like, if you're flirting with both her and Miranda, it's like Jack will come up to you and be like, "Make your choice, or I'll kick your ass," kind of a thing.
Yeah.
See, I never got that actually.
No, I didn't get any of that.
I
Weird.
didn't have, yeah. because I don't feel like I flirted with Jack all that much leading up to it, but I kind of think you just kind of, I don't know, it was open, since, I don't know. Maybe it's more open if you're a renegade, like maybe you have to
Yeah.
try less. I have no idea.
Yeah, something.
Well, I was 0 renegade, so I just probably stood no chance then.
So
Goody two shoes.
so you wanted Jack also?
No, I wasn't fussed about Jack. I actually, she wasn't actually my favourite character. She was sort of, I don't know. She had a miserable time based on her loyalty mission, but I thought she should just lighten up a little bit. She was very, I don't know. She was too aggressive for me.
She was
I
broken.
thought, oh, you were?
She was broken.
She's
Yeah.
broken. She was broken. I don't know. I think I just tried to. I just kept trying to snake Miranda, to be honest. I just forgot about Jack.
I honestly, Jack was kind of my regret about not playing as a guy. Is that bad? Because I really liked her. There was the vulnerability. There was you wanted to, or I did, even with my renegade, I wanted to stop her and make her think about the way she was handling things.
Yeah.
That she was worth more than that.
Right.
And that she wasn't just an experiment. She was human, and she was,
You wanted to let her know in a way that she could feel things and not have to worry about like the pain of that.
And that I wasn't taking advantage of her because everybody
Right.
else did, and that was just it. It was, I wanted to gain her trust.
Right.
Which meant that I also had an emotional connection, so there was this. Sorry to be girly, but with emotion there is the sexuality and things like this that go with it.
Mm.
It's part of sharing that part of yourself. So I felt for Jack. I actually, if she were a real person.
Right. And that's kind of where I made my decision too, was like Miranda was all about like, I'm so great, and I was just, that's not, to me, that wasn't something I wanted to deal with as far as a romance option. And then as we discussed before, like Tally was just kind of like, not, yeah, like I just didn't really care for that. So I was just, Jack was the only one left, but at the same time, I actually cared about where her arc was going, not just in terms of like the general arc, but also on the romance side of it too. Mm-hmm. So I just went with that because it made sense to me.
Well, who romanced Ashley in the first Mass Effect? Did any of you romance Ashley?
All of you guys did.
Yeah. So did no one feel like, this is getting a bit deep now?
Oh no! Okay. When I ran into her on Horizon and she chewed me out, I'm like, well then, fuck you.
Oh yeah.
I was dead.
She was a little bit cold, yeah. But take that away then. If you're chasing after your crew members, was there any sort of remorse that you sort of, still had Ashley, but you were playing around on the ship instead? Did that ever sort of go through your mind?
No. Well, I wasn't with Ashley. I had been with Liara in the first one, and obviously I told you what I already had an agenda. So
I guess I'm just too soft then when it comes to this game, when it comes to those sort of decisions.
No, my reasoning though is that I didn't like Ashley that much. I just liked her better than Liara. So it wasn't, the first game wasn't really so much about like, oh, I really like her. It was just, of these two, I like this one better. Whereas like I liked the other women in Mass Effect 2 better than Mass Effect 1. So I was moving on to better things, I think.
So,
and wait, actually, I wanted to ask too, Tony, did Jack get like softer with you, or was she still kind of
Oh yeah,
mean the
over
whole
the
time?
course of the flirting, like you could tell it was kind of getting that way, like because as you talk to her and you pick more of the nicer conversation options, like
Uh-huh.
she starts to open up, but she's always kind of on guard too.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, when it's like when she wants you to make a decision, even just on her own conversation, she'll be like, you know, she'll say something like, I forget how she words it, but she basically says, you know, we can make this a thing and we can make it official, but if you hurt me, I'll kick, you know, I'll do like, basically she'll murder you if you fuck around or whatever. But
See, because I think
yeah, but then you have to like be like, you have to reassure her and let her know that, you know, that you're not just trying to take advantage of her. And she kind of says things like, you know, I've already dealt with that in my life. I've already had people like use me for what they want, and I'm not, you know, I don't want to do that anymore. So it's kind of like,
Which is exactly what I said that I wanted to do with her.
right.
Yeah, so it is. It's building up her confidence for her.
Right.
And her self-worth.
Right.
So
Yeah, and then you know, the scene itself, she basically embraces that soft side of herself and, you know, lets it happen or whatever. So I thought, for me, that was interesting. And that
lets it happen.
Well, you know what I mean. Like she lets her guard down. She doesn't like hold you at arm's length. Like she welcomes it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought that was interesting from a character standpoint.
Yeah. So, okay, she was my favorite character in Mass Effect 2. She really was.
Mm-hmm.
Who, Jack?
Yes.
I would agree.
I
like
her
her
and Legion.
Oh, you guys haven't even talked about Morden.
Yeah.
Oh, he was hilarious.
Yeah.
I like Morden enough. Morden, the character like that is like they talk so fast and the science angle, like it's hard for me to like look beyond the one-liners and stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed talking to Morden and things like all of his little references and jokes were pretty good. So
Yeah. Did you get him to sing?
oh, of course.
Well, hey.
Get him to sing.
Uh-huh. You didn't get him to sing? Oh, my.
Oh, this is new to me.
All right. And well, the thing is...
Oh, you got to look up the video.
Yes, look up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video.
yeah.
It is,
have to know.
Yeah.
it is so worth it. And actually, I'll pinned it here.
Well, where does he sing then?
I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian. I'm quite good at genetics as a subset of biology because I am an expert which I know as a tautology. My xenoscience studies range from urban to agrarian. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian.
It's on the ship.
What's it called?
It's on the ship, is
The
it?
Scientist Solarian, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a formal name for it. I can't remember what it is.
Does he sing just in the middle of the sort of getting to know you chit chat that you do with him or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that then.
And I swear it's... I want to say it's to the tune of Surrey with the Fringe on Top, but I might be mistaken. Because that's the song that's playing in my head right now. And I'm sorry, I like musicals. But, let's see. But I might be mistaken. I really do. Might be. It's a great... I mean, it's... The thing is, I romance Garrus. So there's this really funny, hilarious conversation he has with... and he goes on about, be careful about chafing. Because, yeah. Because we're not meant to go together. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shepard, how can I help?
Have you got a minute to talk?
Actually, wanted to talk. Medical matters. Aware that mission is dangerous. Different species react differently to stress. Sexual activity normal stress release for humans and Turians. Still, recommend caution. Warn of chafing.
I intend to be cautious, Doctor. But Garrus is important to me. You're not gonna scare me off.
Of course. Hormones. Regardless, come see me later. May need analgesic. Chafing.
You have a recommendation as a doctor?
Turians based on dextroamino acids. Human ingestion of tissue could provoke allergic reactions. Anaphylactic shock possible, so don't ingest. Also forwarding advice booklet to your quarters. Valuable diagrams, positions comfortable for both species, erogenous zone overviews. Can supply oils or ointments to reduce discomfort. Gave ED electronic relationship aid demonstration vids to use as necessary.
Wait a minute, Morden. You're just yanking me around, aren't you?
Shocking suggestion. Doctor-patient confidentiality, a sacred trust. Would never dream of mockery. Enjoy yourself while possible, Shepard. We'll be here studying cell reproduction. Much simpler, less alcohol and mood music required.
I just like when he's talking about when he's talking about like a past relationship or something, and he says the line of he had the reach and she had the flexibility.
Yes, yes, yes.
It just became a running joke amongst me and some friends.
It was brutal. After 9 rounds, the judge called it a draw. There were a lot of unhappy bettors in the training room. We ended up holding a tiebreaker in her quarters. I had reach, but she had flexibility. More than one way to work off stress, I guess.
So, okay, Legion. So I liked Legion, but
Did he come a little bit too late in the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just too late for me to have any kind of relationship.
Yeah, I felt the same way there. I still said all good things to him just to get him to survive the end mission and stuff, but I didn't sort of really care for him.
So
I actually lost my loyalty with Tali because of Legion, because I backed Legion in all their conversations. Because when you think about it, once he kind of explains their side, like it kind of makes the Quarians not look so good.
Hold on. So you didn't choose the option where you tell them to both shut up?
Yeah.
No, I definitely backed up Legion because I didn't like Tali anyway.
Yeah.
And I was more. I'm more on the side of the victimized, which are the Geth in this case now.
Well,
so
you didn't really know how victimized they were at that point.
True.
Yeah. So it was just there was a little bit given, but nothing that was definitive in saying the Quarian were kind of dickheads. Which they were. I honestly, they really were, and they continued to be. They were, kind of elitists.
Well, I think when you go through Tali's loyalty mission and you find those messages talking about the research on the Geth and what they were trying to learn and things like that, it kind of painted that picture of, maybe they didn't do all good by the Geth.
Right. But it also, looking at it from, when I went through, it was like they didn't know what they did wrong.
Yeah.
They really wanted to find out, but they also really wanted to beat them. So, but yeah, go ahead.
But on his own, I really liked Legion's perspective on the universe and like just the general information he provided.
Yes.
Because he comes late in the game, but he's got a lot to reveal at that point. And I just sat there I don't remember how long the conversations take, but I milked every bit of info out of those things because I wanted to know, like, how do the Geth work, and what's their role in this whole thing with the galaxy and stuff, like, and they're kind of largely I shouldn't say largely absent, but they're a little less involved than in the first game. So I was kind of wondering why that was and things.
Mhm.
So just talking to him and hearing like all the perspective of the Geth and how they see things, I found that really intriguing.
Okay, because getting Legion just reminded me, why were the husks so hard in 2?
Yeah, I don't know.
They were so
they
much.
weren't bullet sponges.
They were so much stronger and faster in 2 than they were in 1 or even 3. They were. And
I didn't
there's that one the mission on I think it's the mission where you get Legion.
Yeah. That's what reminded me.
You guard those 2 points while there's the husks climbing over the rails the whole time, and it's just it was just too hard to keep even your crew members from dying because they would just go off. Yeah. So that was
my least favorite mission in the game.
Yeah.
I thought.
It was the most intense mission. Yeah. That was the collector ship.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there were so many of them. So not only were they stronger and faster, there were more. Yeah. And they just kept coming.
Yeah.
Although I was more annoyed with the Scions.
Oh, those were bad.
Oh yeah.
Those things can.
Well, because their powers always go through cover, so it just doesn't even matter where you're at.
Right.
Well, and it just took forever to whittle them down. They had so much armor.
And it actually depends on what cover you're in. You know, if it's like a low fence post, or a low fence, then it doesn't protect you. But if you're behind a wall, it does.
Mm-hmm.
So, or most of the time, so every once in a while it would get through. If he was at the right angle. But, yes, the Scions were awful. But what I would do is have the 2 people with me attack all the husks while I just kept going down, and kill the Scion. Because they at least were kind enough to only put 1 in with each of those. So, you didn't have to deal with more than 1.
Yeah. Well, is it the final mission where you're on the floating platforms and I think there's 2 Scions?
Yeah, there is.
And then another platform comes from the other side and dumps like another pair?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my worst mission.
Yeah.
Well,
that section anyway.
The final with the giant skeleton reaper.
Oh, that was
quite easy.
Yeah.
It was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say it's easy, but just tedious. Like the worst kind of boss fight. I felt like.
Well, it just had the
and after.
Sorry, go on.
And then it was like in the shape of like a giant baby, kind of like I don't know. It was just like I felt like the other Reapers made sense, and this one just looked like I would never see this thing flying around. It looked like a Sentinel from the X-Men, and I was just like, that doesn't really work.
The way I reasoned that was when you talk to Sovereign in the first game, he kind of hints that the Reapers are kind of like they're always improving, and they're always trying to they
take from the
they take from the organics, and they inherit their best traits or whatever.
Yeah, but they take from the strongest race that is there at that time.
Right. So to me, it was like a human beat them in the first game, so their solution was to make themselves in the human image to try to improve on their model, so to speak. Yeah. That's kind of how I reasoned it. I don't know.
Well,
no, I didn't disagree with the logic. I just thought it looked kind of
it was,
like when I think about that thing flying around space, I just think
it's actually comical.
Silly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's bad design on their part to have glowing orange bits to shoot as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obvious. Like I've played games before. Yes.
Let's make a Super Reaper, but have easy target points and stuff. Yes. It's very end of game boss. In a sort of cliched sense, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Now, the thing about that actually made that last boss difficult was because they started sitting things in on the platforms. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually found I completed it the first time. I thought once the orange bits were glowing, they only took a few shots to blow up.
No, yeah, that was easy.
Yeah.
If I happened to be in the right spot.
Right.
But I also was trying to avoid his yelling blast that injured me.
Oh yeah.
So so I would get out of cover, and all of a sudden there would be these platforms coming in again. So I would end up getting hit, and that was not fun.
No.
Now, since we were at the end of that game, did you blow up the collector ship?
Yep.
Yes.
First time I didn't. I don't know why. But the best part is if you don't, when you go back on the ship, everyone tells you made the wrong decision. Everyone. They're like, you gave it to if they're like, you gave it to him? That was probably a bad idea.
Oh, even Miranda and Jacob?
Everyone was like against you. Like they said it like friendly, but you know what I mean? They were all like, "Oh, you kind of screwed up," you know. But like, "Oh, we're fine with it, whatever."
You'd go to bed crying.
That was my one thing. Yeah. So I was like, I won't do that next time.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. I'm glad I blew it up. I was. I
debated. In the third game too.
I definitely debated.
I didn't debate. I just hated the elusive man. I thought anything to annoy him would do.
Well, that was just it. It was I did hate the elusive man. I didn't trust him, but that was information that could really help.
Yeah. It's weird. I understood, the information there, but I was just a bit simple-minded towards it. I just thought, no, screw you, and then blew it up. I didn't really think too much about it. I just thought, no, the elusive man will not get off good from this, so yeah, I'll blow it up.
I paused the game and went to Twitter, and everybody said it was my decision, and I left it paused. I left it paused for at least a half an hour, thinking, okay. So.
Also, before we leave that, who had people die in that last mission?
Well, this is a bit of a obsessive compulsive for me. I just wanted everyone to survive, and it got to the point where I was returning to previous saves and altering certain things, then going to the final mission. It was horrible. I played through the game about 4 times to ensure that I got everyone to survive, and then once I did get everyone to survive, that would be the save file to go on to the third game. So, like I had people die, but ultimately I did finally get it, so no one would die.
Nobody died in mine.
And I actually, me too. And I didn't feel like I tried that hard. Like I didn't go out of my way. But as long as you do, as long as you do whatever's best for them, like in the loyalty missions and stuff, and that's kind of how I always decided, like whatever they would have wanted. Well, I never really had. Huh? Go ahead.
Well, I was sorry. I can't really remember having any parts of the game that made me think, oh damn, he's not going to survive now. It was it was just pure frustration when someone died. I was like, why has he died?
If you didn't complete their loyalty mission to their satisfaction, they would die.
And I read that and I felt that I had, but it was certain intricacies and I was it was frustrating, and that's why. I mean, I think Morden died on my first one. I had no idea. Maybe it's because I didn't get him to sing.
Morden's the easiest one to die, regardless of anything you do.
So I read as well.
He's kind of the most vulnerable, yeah. So
for any specific reason?
I don't think I ever saw what the reasoning was. Like, it's kind of like, which ones are the battle-hardened people and which ones are more of the support-ish people. But the common strategy is to have him go back with the crew.
Right.
So that he lives and isn't involved in the final battle whatsoever. And then And then I think what I ended up doing was using Tali and Miranda at the end. And then everybody else survived. The hardest part about it for me was just when you get to those parts where it's like, who do you want to lead this, mission into the air duct
To
or
run
whatever?
off on their own.
Tally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tally, exactly.
Except I had to listen to her whine more than I thought that I would have to.
Okay, wait. I have a good story about that one. I actually, because the first time I played through, I did it perfect. And again, like I said, the whole time I've been playing Mass Effect, I've been wanting the original, Knights of the Old Republic. So I wanted more people to die, and nobody died. So I was like, dang it, that kind of sucks. And so since I lost the loyalty with Tally, I decided, well, this is a chance to lose someone. So when every time on that final mission I could send someone away on something dangerous, I was just like, Tally, go. And I sent her into the vents, and then I even just tried to not do the objective. I just kind of sat there behind cover until she died. But that one doesn't let you kill her that way. You actually have to finish that, otherwise the whole mission fails. But a couple seconds later, there was a cutscene, and a bullet came through the door, and she died, and that was that.
Well, there you go.
So I was happy to be rid of her. But I did lose someone from Mass Effect 3, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah, I didn't lose anybody. And I didn't think I did anything, like I didn't have to work too hard to get Samara, her daughter, whatever her name is. No, Morinth is the mother, and Samara was the daughter.
No, Morinth is the daughter.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I might be confused.
Wait,
But,
so did you get Morinth?
No, I had Samara.
Okay.
I had the mother. Like I allowed her to kill her. The mother to kill the daughter. There, I'll keep it that way so I don't have to get names. But I didn't have to, it was like, okay, I listened to what she likes and then started talking about those things and got up to her room in like 10 seconds. And
Well,
Yeah. I will say that that moment where you have to choose between one of the two,
uh-huh.
that was probably the most my favorite visual moment of the game. When they're kind of both just at that standoff and everything's swirling around them, and I sat there and looked at that screen for a good 10 minutes, like, oh, this is so cool.
It's a great mission, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that mission.
Ooh, and well, okay, because it was this woman is out to kill her own daughter. She had been chasing after her daughter for what, 400 years? Was that was right?
Something like that.
Something
A
like
long
that.
time.
Then, which reminds me, it was Arya. Is that what her name is? Arya T'Loak.
Yeah.
The mercenary, yeah.
I didn't like her.
I did.
Is she the one that controls Omega?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like her in 2, but I liked her more in 3.
I did like her in 3.
I kind of wish she was romanceable in 3, actually. Because I liked her a lot more there, too. I kind of thought that would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
She reminded me of the 80s.
Of the 80s.
Okay.
What about her reminded you of the 80s?
It was the excessive makeup, the cropped jacket that was like that leather, the colored leather.
It was like a short vest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way she was. It was like you look at women in the 80s that when they were portrayed as the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
that she was that.
Okay, I can see that.
At least that's my perception of it. And maybe that's why I didn't like her. It just, I have this already preconceived idea of based on her. physical appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody else said anybody die? Or
I will say what I did with each of these games. Well, except for 3, I haven't done it in 3 yet. But in the first 2, I played with a all Paragon and an all Renegade.
Mhm.
So when I did my all Renegade in 2, I killed everyone.
how did you do
But
that?
did you survive?
No, only Dr. Chakwas lived.
Wait, but you're. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait. The
So
thing
then
is,
it's just a failure then?
Oh
Right?
yeah, totally.
Mark, I really love British accents, but I did not
Right.
like Dr. Chakwas. It was like,
Is she British?
yeah,
that's news to me.
Yeah, like her accent, it's kind of. I mean, I can see where it's kind of British, but not really.
it
I don't know. I didn't
was,
really feel like.
it was like a forced or a fake British accent.
Yeah.
But it definitely was meant to be.
Oh, right, okay. It was probably a good one then, because I would have noticed if it was a bad one. So it's probably quite a good one.
I didn't like it.
I'll
To
have
me,
to
it
listen
didn't-
back. I'll have to listen back to it.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't sound so much British as much as it did like matronly.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I remember that was actually difficult to do because you had to not do the loyalty missions, which I did. You had to, and then it was just a matter of like not upgrading the ship
Yeah.
and making sure you made the wrong choices when it came to who leads the squads or whatever.
Right.
But then like with the 6 people or whatever that are left, you have to figure out, who are the weaker ones, and then like you have to take the stronger ones with you to assure that they die in the rubble,
Right.
and then you have to miss the jump or whatever. And I know there's specific things, I can't remember them right off the top of my head, but there's specific things that factor into like how it all works. But it took me a few tries to get people to die that were not in my party during the final battle.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So
The game has to be finished though, doesn't it? Even if you're full renegade.
yeah. I mean, you still finish the game, and you
But-
get to the point where Shepard jumps to the ship and he just misses. He doesn't grab on or whatever,
Mhm.
and then it's just kind of like we'll remember the fallen at the end. But
So obviously Joker lived. Joker still lived though, right?
Joker lived. Dr. Chakwas is the only one to get off the collector base or whatever.
All right. Okay, she's Carolyn Seymour, and she is from Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. Is that how it's
Oh, right.
pronounced?
Yeah.
The
England.
voice actress?
Yeah, she is from the
Okay.
So
UK.
she is British then.
Yes. And
It's weird how I didn't clock onto that.
I just didn't like her voice. Is that bad?
No, it's not bad. Well, I mean, I'm in Wales. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's not quite England, so.
Well, and it's still part of the UK.
Oh yeah. It's just that we have 2 languages here.
Yes,
One
you
of which
do.
isn't spoken. Yeah.
Well, the other one is. You say it's not spoken?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. There's a bit of a north-south divide here. You got South Wales, which is very, mostly first language is Welsh,
Yeah.
and then the north is kind of has more in common with England. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's not Welsh isn't a first language, isn't spoken first language up in north. So South Wales hate us for being English, basically.
Okay.
But we're still in Wales, so it's kind of weird. So I know very little Welsh, despite living in Wales. So I'm basically English.
Okay.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah, basically. But I know a little bit of Welsh, but not enough to have a conversation.
Okay, I don't know enough about Welsh.
No.